Every one of us suffers from some type of radiation damage every day. Of course, we all know the dangers of sun exposure, but did you know certain building materials emit radiation, as does drinking water, some types of pocket watches, eyeglasses, and airplanes? The list goes on and on. Those most at risk of radiation exposure are astronauts and deep-sea divers, which has to do with the loss of atmospheric protection. And of course, no surprise, also at high risk, people working at nuclear plants. Finding a way to reverse radiation damage has been a huge challenge for the medical community until now. NASA, the Johnson Space Center, and a local company are hopeful they may have found the key to unlock the mystery.
For the final launch of Endeavour, expanding our knowledge while expanding our lives.
NASA wants to pioneer the future in space exploration and scientific discovery, but this can put the health of astronauts at risk. One of the biggest concerns, radiation damage.
The geomagnetosphere that protects us is not as protective when you're in space.
We're also looking forward to, exploration, and the United States and maybe our international partners going to other destinations like back to the moon or maybe one day going to Mars. We're looking forward to that.
It's imperative that astronauts have proper protection from radiation to sustain a long trip to Mars or back to the moon. Since they can't pack fresh fruits and vegetables on a trip that could last years in space, they also need the right nutrition. Dr. Jeff Jones is a former NASA flight surgeon who's been trying to help develop a countermeasure for these problems.
When you get increased radiation or increased oxidative stress from any source, it can cause damage to the DNA. That's the number one thing we worry about. It can cause the DNA to mutate,
which can lead to cancer. Now a group of powerful forces may have come up with a solution.
We had to put together a team combined of academia, the University of Pittsburgh and Baylor and Center for Space Medicine, as well as industry with AmeriSciences and NASA, all working together to develop a formula to try and help crew members resist radiation and oxidative stress while they're in space.
This group developed a special recipe for a health cocktail, and Houston-based AmeriSciences produced the product.
The work they've done is unprecedented in this supplement and nutraceutical industry. I think it's a huge deal. We have never really had really good ways to offset radiation-induced damage, at least not that I know of. And particularly the idea that you can have a food-based product really kind of at the center of it makes it even more attractive. In other words, you don't have to take chemotherapy or some kind of strong drug to do it. You can actually have a food-based product to help offset the effects.
The preventive measure and possible treatment is made from two types of micronutrients.
One, vitamins, minerals, carotenoids, and other vitamin-like substances, and that is what we have made available in the form of AS10 Life. The other half of the formulation is what I would refer to as primarily fruit and vegetable-derived antioxidants.
The 1-2 punch comes in the forms of a pill and this drink. To test it out, scientists gave mice a lethal dose of radiation, then followed that with the supplement.
Roughly 20% or so of the mice went on to live after about 250 days. You had 60 to 80% of the mice that were supplemented have survival after 250 days.
They gave Hiroshima-type dosing to these animals. And the AmeriSciences product AS10 actually protected the animals from radiation-induced death. It's an amazing, amazing finding. This is the first time showing that you could actually extend the life of these animals sixfold. Is just unbelievable.
Now the studies will continue on in humans. Researchers hope the new findings will have benefits beyond space. The Chernobyl nuclear plant meltdown 25 years ago sent radiation around the world. That's a big fear for people now following Japan's earthquake and tsunami in March. Experts predict it could take 100 years before the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant is safe there. Workers on the front line fear for their lives after they received deadly doses of radiation.
They haven't really stopped the leak. They've just kind of contained it for a time being, and it'll still potentially leak into the groundwater.
A distributor from Asia traveled all the way to Houston because he wants to help victims from the disaster and offer them the product from AmeriSciences.
In Japan, there are 130 million people. So right now, there's one of the largest or worst disasters in the history. So in Japan, that's one that's directly relevant.
Zhang believes the need for a radiation cure is more important now than ever before.
On the other side, you have North Korea pointing nuclear heads on South Korea, so that's a very real needs and for this type of product.
Zhang is working with charitable organizations to try to make the product affordable for everyone in Asia, whether a nuclear disaster or a space mission. Developers hope this product can reverse radiation damage and help people live healthier, longer lives. Before, doctors had figured out that iodine can help before radiation exposure, but only to prevent thyroid cancer. Researchers hope this latest product will help prevent damage in every organ.